For the second week in a row, the TSA has confiscated a record number of firearms at security checkpoints at a bunch of U.S. airports. 81 guns were seized between August 12th and 18th. And of the weapons, 70 were loaded. 31 actually were loaded with a chambered round, meaning that just squeezing the trigger would have discharged the firearm. This brings the number seized in 2016 from carry-on baggage to over 1,900. This is 400 more weapons seized than at this point last year. Usually the way it works is there's a loaded gun in a carry-on bag or in a purse. TSA finds it and the excuse is, I forgot. And Lewis, we've told the story where you brought a knife on a plane. You also forgot. However, TSA did not notice that knife.
That is true. I legitimately forgot, and it was basically because it was this multi-tool that happened to have a big blade, and it wasn't just a combat knife. But that's the I forgot thing happens, and I'm sure many of these instances people actually did forget. Listen to all the stories we cover all the time that someone forgot they had their handgun in their purse or somewhere in the car, and then there's an quote accident. There's some negligent act.
Yeah, I mean, I would consider that if you are unaware of the location of your loaded firearm, right? That if you forget that a loaded firearm is in your purse, what you're basically saying is you've been entrusted with jurisdiction over this firearm, and you were unaware of the location of the loaded firearm. That to me is very, very concerning.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's also interesting because post 9/11, there was definitely heightened security in airports. And I remember when I was a lot younger, I tried to get through with a nail clipper and I couldn't. And
oh yeah, you could take down a plane with that.
Yeah, they actually confiscated it. And then on my most recent flight, I got in with a needle in my bag, yet they confiscated this much amount of water.
That sounds like an interesting story, actually. That we'll talk about that on the bonus show. So what is the process when TSA discovers that you have a firearm? Basically, that security checkpoint is completely shut down. Police are called. Everybody else gets angry who's around you, and you face a criminal referral and a fine of up to $11,000. I actually am really concerned about this. Number one, because I don't like the idea of people bringing guns into airports. But I'm more concerned because a recent test of the TSA where they went in and tried to sneak banned items through, 95% of them got through. So in my head, I'm thinking that there are 19 guns getting through security for every one that is being caught. Is that crazy to think might be going on?
Not at all. I mean, I remember, so my two stories are when I was a kid, I went to Texas. I brought M80s on my carry-on baggage into the plane and brought them back to Massachusetts. And the other one was I flew once from Florida to Massachusetts, stopped off, and then I got my, kind of similar to Lewis, got my Leatherman tool onto the plane, kind of unbeknownst to me. But then I took a layover in San Francisco, but the non-TSA, there's different, force.
There's a few airports that don't use TSA, essentially.
Exactly, but they caught me, and then I had to, get it off to somebody and get on my plane flight. So.
And of course you could say, really? Well, TSA let me on the plane with this knife. They're not particularly successful. There are two reasons someone would be bringing unless you're truly ignorant of the fact that you're not allowed to have guns on planes, which is very hard for me to believe. You either are trying to bring the gun on the plane to use it on the plane or to deliberately break a law, in which case you shouldn't be on the plane. Or, as I've said, you've lost track of where your firearm is, Lewis, and both, to me, would be reasons to keep somebody off of a plane.
Yes, but I don't think we know anybody who is the type of person. We know people who own plenty of guns, but they're not the people who leave guns everywhere. You walk into someone's house and there's a gun on every stand. There's a gun in the nightstand. There's a gun under the couch.
Yeah.
These people exist. They're everywhere in the United States. And I'm guessing a great deal of the people that got caught here is exactly that type of person.